that's a good transition onto race day, mate, because race day
Oh,
was very interesting.
was-
That start was very interesting.
that was
What
a,
was your take on that start, Damo?
on the
What did
start.
you think?
I thought Piastri had an excellent start. I thought
Yeah, a very good one.
I thought Piastri got to the corner first, and therefore Piastri had that corner. That's
I, I agree.
yeah,
I've got a question for you.
yep.
Um, when's the last time we saw second out drag first to the first corner?
Well, I don't know about that stat. I do know this is the first time this year that pole position hasn't won.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So at
Interesting.
least for this year, even if second did get it, pole position ended up winning the race. But this is the first time, so just another tick in the box for some random stat for Oscar to take home. Um, but yeah, I think we'll get to a bit more detail because I have got a lot to say about that clash in
Oh,
that corner and how I think there needs to be a new max rule. I think needs to be implemented because he does the same thing a lot.
a max. Wow.
So
Wow. Damo. No. You can't
but
do that. You can't have one rule for one and then
no,
something
no,
else for others.
no. It's just more. If I touch on it quickly, he does it a lot, and it's just that release of brake, and it's like that then puts his axle ahead, but he's never going to make the corner. He's done this quite a few times, and it is absolute. It is a smart racing brain, and he just knows how to make things work in his favour. And what he did, taking the lead, still being shitty about the penalty when in reality the clean air everything gave him a massive advantage. But yeah,
Yep.
there I go. I'm off on my rant already.
It's all right, mate. That's what we're here for. People want to see you rant.
Yeah, well, I was going to do it a bit later on. Let's touch on good news for Norris.
There was?
Yeah, well, he did manage to get back to
Oh, the
fourth.
Sonoda Gasly clash. Yeah, that gave you good positions.
Yeah, definitely did. But yeah, did recover to fourth, and yeah, probably got tied up just a little bit too much in some of the other shit down the order that may have cost him a podium. But look, he a bit like last round, in my opinion. I think his racecraft was good in peaks and troughs. He had some shocking moments. Absolutely against Hamilton, was outclassed, and I don't know why he didn't learn his lesson, but continued to take him at the wrong point so that the DRS would be reactivated and Hamilton goes back past him. So that was like a brain fade. But
That call from his engineer.
yeah,
Play the game, Lando. Play
play
the
the
game.
game. So it's like, stab the brakes,
Mate.
right? Stop overtaking him. That was
Yeah.
pretty bad. But then, other parts of that race, he just caned it, just did really well, lined people up, made it happen. Yeah.
Did he though? I don't
Well,
know.
we'll see our
I don't
rankings.
think he did.
Okay.
I don't.
Let's see our
I
rankings.
yeah. My opinion on Lando and his ability to overtake is that it's near zero. If he didn't have DRS, he couldn't do shit with anything.
Big call. Okay.
My opinion, but it's a strong one.
Well, if he keeps
My
qualifying down the order, he's never going to end up where he needs to be because if he can't overtake. So,
No, he definitely can't.
yeah. Now, I know just what we'll finish up a little bit on Norris, and his tyre was on the pit exit line, apparently. So,
Ah, yeah. Well, not just that. Did you see his entry?
yeah. How he actually got it slowed up in time, I'm not really sure how that was. Maybe the dude with the gun was like too slow or something. I don't know. Because I thought that was the incident. That was what was going to be a problem. And then we saw it was the exit crossing the line, which
Yeah. Well, he
he
didn't
did
quite
cross it.
cross it. He had his tire on it.
Yeah.
But when they're like that particular track, they're pretty harsh on it. So yeah, I think he was lucky not to get a penalty at all, really.
Yeah.
Because I think by the sounds of it in the review, here's my professional.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus.
in the like early drivers briefing, it sounded like they were really hot on it, saying, stay well away from it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He could have had a penalty, in my opinion. I don't know if he deserved it or not, but he got away with one.
You're getting
He's flirting.
you're
He is
slowly.
flirting.
Well, he's flirting with you, I think, because you're just looking for an excuse to cause him some grief. I think.
No,
All right.
not at all.
Well,
I like Lando. He's a nice guy.
He's a lovely guy.
He is.
Sporting a very nice mullet too, like a footballer's mullet on the weekend. I noticed.
Yeah.
Hey, so Norris actually got up there because there was a bit of a clash that took out two opponents that maybe, according to Steve, he can't pass well enough. What was your take on the Tsunoda Gasly incident?
So I've had a look at it a few times, and I've also listened to a few people, and a lot have gone back on what they initially thought. A lot thought that Yuki understeered into Gasly, and now they've all gone back and saying, "Oh, it's more of a racing incident."
Yeah.
La-di-da. I'm still on the. It's probably a 65-35 split. And I would say
Percentage, yep.
65% is Yuki's fault.
Yeah.
And that's not, I'm not trying to lay blame. It is primarily a racing incident. But I think Yuki probably could have let that, like, Gasly was past, really.
Yeah.
He had the job done. So probably just onus is on Yuki to step out of the throttle for a split second and then rejoin him behind him and keep Norris at bay, and then we wouldn't have had to worry about Norris for the rest of the race.
Right. Yeah, I kind of agree. There was a little bit of sloppiness from both drivers, but I'd definitely say more on Tsunoda. But I'm definitely down with it was just a bit of a racing incident. They were kind of going in hard against each other. If one of them kind of just had a little bit less, it would have been, everyone would have had play on. So, yeah, I just think it was a pretty good example of where, the stewards kind of said, like, okay, we'll play on. Let's just treat it as a racing incident, because that's how I reckon it was.
Yeah, and as I said, primarily. But if I was to portion more of the blame, I would say it's Yuki.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, look, these things, they're never good. It wasn't good for Gasly. It wasn't good for Yuki. So ultimately, it is what it is.
It is. And almost incident that happened. My goodness, nothing like being on a manager's Portello. I didn't say that. That was you. His manager, Bortoletto, always taking out Alonso. Apparently, they were sharing a flight home, so I'm not sure how that would have gone.
Sure, it was fine. I mean, Alonso had no right to place his car. No, I'm joking. No, definitely Bortoletto shouldn't have been swinging across the track as viciously or ferociously as he did.
Yeah.
But, he did, but he luckily saw Fernando just in the nick of time and reacted. So,
yeah.
Look, it could have happened, but it didn't happen, so it's all okay, right?
It's all fine. And just showing that Alonso, that despite his age, still has great reflexes, just enough to thread that very fine needle between the man...
He touched the wall,
on this
though,
side.
didn't he?
He just kissed the wall, but I think it was the safest and the easiest way to keep going, because it could have been a whole lot worse if they'd just gone into the rear tyre there. Just don't know what he was thinking.
I like how he redressed as well after taking the long way around. That was very gentlemanly.
He's just like, I think it was probably still a little bit of shock. He was just like, shit, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, okay, go.
Oh, yeah. Right, go.
But it does amaze me, these drivers and their reactions and what they can actually spot, that in all of that dedication to getting ahead and leading the race, still Piastri can spot some random red light on a balcony somewhere and go to his engineer, mate, someone's got a red light, looks like a red flag, and telling him to get it switched off. Like, just amazing what they can still capture in their eyesight and in their brains going so fast.
Totally agree, but I mean, it's just not on that Jos Verstappen would stand on a balcony with a big red light trying to put off Piastri. I mean, that's come on, mate. You're better than that.
Well, I wouldn't put it
Is that not
past
right?
him.
Is that not factually correct?
We'll leave that as a little citation that we need to just validate. Yeah, but probably or probably not. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
yeah, no, it is amazing. Like, I mean, we've spoken many times before about like Fernando's ability to see different things as he's racing around the track. And this is another example of that. But this time, Oscar driving around going, why is there a red flashing light?
it's just like
Can you stop that? Why is Lance Stroll in my way?
Oh,
Get out of the way.
they are having a little bit of a bromance, aren't they? Because
Oh,
constantly Stroll is getting in the way, which seems like it's just a little bit intentional.
well,
Um,
this started
yeah,
back in Monza, I
yeah,
think. Was it
yep.
last year or the year before? And, mate, Stroll, go play tennis, mate.
Okay,
Told you.
just give it up.
Go play tennis. You'll be fine.
Yeah, the Monza. I think that was the comment about, I don't know if he thinks we're still racing go karts or something.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the comment. Yeah,
and so that kind of kicked it off. I think.
definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Hmm.
Oscar's winning, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, that's the thing, right? So now we've got Oscar winning, even when theoretically probably shouldn't have this weekend because it didn't quite have the pace. But that's what champions do, isn't it, Damo? They win or finish high when they're not supposed to.
Yeah, agreed. Would-be champions would even do that.
Mm.
But he just has managed, like last weekend was a really, I know you kind of in jest we're talking about Aussie grip, but he really did just show, Lando was beating him in a couple of sessions. He didn't get the pole. The clean air that Max had, that he still managed the tyres, had a shit pit stop, to be honest.
Yep.
And still had enough racecraft and skill and speed to make that win happen, and eventually then be top of the drivers' championship. So yeah, it was a top effort.
But I know I half jokingly say that Lando can't overtake, but you want to see an actual overtake.
Ooh, around
That
the
overtake around
outside.
Hamilton, around the outside, mate. Like the balls,
Yeah.
DRS open around the outside on loose shit, and just blew past him like it was nothing. Car didn't even look like it was going to go off at any second or anything like that. He just straight past. Lewis left him like just enough room, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll take that. See ya."
It was fair dinkum amazing, and I guess it really is, like, if you boil it down, that is literally an example of the hero or zero, because if he does that, crashes, like goes on the marbles, ends up crashing, the narrative, the conversations, the articles, social media are all about how he can't handle it. He did a reckless move, like, but having some innate ability to just make that, stick it, land it, and make that happen, it's just like, and that's the second time he's surprised Hamilton with a little round the outside that was that shouldn't be possible in some regards. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the greasy conditions in Melbourne, and he goes around the outside on the fastest corner on the track.
Because he
Like,
wanted that point. He needed.
yeah, he needed it. He
Yeah.
wanted it. It was his.
Yeah.
It's just it's a remarkable thing, and that is, for me, that's the defining difference between Piastri and Lando, is that ability to, and also just the knowledge that I've got to get this done, and I've got to get this done now.
Yeah.
And yeah, good on him. Might bite him at one point. I hope it doesn't. Touch wood. I'm
Yep.
knocking on wood. But that's what you got to do. and I think it just shows just his mentality. It's like when they talked to him about the start of the race, and he's just like, once I drew alongside Max off the start, I was never coming out of turn one in second.
Yeah.
That was not an option.
Yep.
It's just a killer instinct. Just a killer instinct.
And I think it's a good example of, Lando was talking about, I want to be a nice guy that wins, and there's nothing mean about Oscar. He's a legitimate nice kid, funny as hell, and yet is able to kind of draw that difference of, I'm attacking and doing it in an assertive way that, is confident without being a loose cannon. And that's the difference why I think, he will always end up a champion over Lando, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a long, and I mean, we're all sitting here, and it's not just us. There's so many pods going, Oscar's, he's got this sewn up. If this continues in this trend, he's got this sewn up. But
it's a long
ultimately, it's a long way to go.
Yep.
And a lot can play out, from reliability to all sorts of things that can go wrong. We've seen it happen time and time again. So there's by no means is Lando out of it, and he's going to have his day. You think it's Miami. Personally, I don't think it will be, but he will have his day, and when he does, you'll be right. They will jump back on the bandwagon.
Yep.
And he'll get lauded because he'll do what he does typically, like he did last year, where he takes off down the road.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not, I mean, it's just a difference of style between Piastri and him. Piastri gets it far enough away, but then looks after the car.
Yeah.
So, it's just a difference of, Lando needs to be out of the zone of ever being attacked, whereas Piastri is quite comfortable to have you at arm's length.
Yeah. And I think, just to wrap up a little bit, but I just feel like the win at Miami will give back a little bit of that confidence that Lando's missing. That's why I think he'll be more of a threat there than he was. I mean, he was sort of on the verge of threatening, but didn't make it happen because he crashed. So, it's we'll see what happens. That's obviously a couple of weeks away, so we do have a little bit of a gap for me to change my mind. You see.
No, we can all change our mind.
True.
I do it all the time.
Well, if you get new information, you should always adjust your opinion. You should never be that hard set. All right. Well, that sounds like a dinner table discussion, that one. So one thing we didn't touch on was we started earlier about talking about Lawson and giving your thoughts on his weekend, and then perhaps some of those incidents and that penalty.
Lawson had a much better weekend, out-qualified Hadjar, which is the first time we did that, which we spoke about really quickly. So I was really happy for him. I actually think the 10-second penalty that he got, I don't think was fair. I think the move was done. And okay, he ran off the track, blah, 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 but I don't think he gained an advantage by doing so. And 10 seconds just seemed... I mean,
excessive.
You go back to the Max incident, and it's like, that's 5 seconds. Well, then Lawson shouldn't be any more than 5 seconds, personally, because it wasn't anywhere near the same, in my opinion. So... but, the stewards make their call, and something I've actually said recently is that you have to live with what they do, like they say, and we need to get back to the times where we didn't always just question the umpires, I guess. Where we have to accept that and respect that they have made a decision. That's the decision. So that put him behind his teammate, unfortunately. But, look, a much better weekend. I want to see more of it in Miami. And it continue. But I still think that car's probably should be just in the top 10. And I don't think either of the boys maximised it over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it was just not the right track for them or something. They've been so good and probably overperforming in that car to normal expectations that I think maybe it just wasn't right. But yeah, I'm with you that Apparently, because it was a lap one incident, that's why Max was only hit with 5 seconds and not 10. The normal penalty for those is 10. I think it was way too harsh, in my opinion. There was something that we didn't see or couldn't identify. Because yeah, I'm with you. Didn't feel like it was necessary to have such a big penalty.
No, but that's all right. I mean, look, he'll take it. He'll move on, and hopefully, as I said, in Miami, he'll come out and have a good race.
Indeed. Righto, mate. Well, that's kind of the wrap up or the review kind of done. The debrief
Done
is what we call it.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.